Okay, machines on. Got some orders. We gotta make them. Just a guy in his garage making stuff. All right. What is going on in the world? Let's see. What should we talk about? What was on my news feed today that we can talk about while we're working? I guess the first thing that I saw today that I thought was very interesting is this whole situation with Miss Rachel. And if you guys don't know who Miss Rachel is, she makes content online, kids content. I believe she was a former teacher, right? I don't I don't watch any of her content. I've seen some of it uh, from this story popping up about how she is you know, basically she wants the end of the war in Gaza, and she's been very outspoken about it. And I find this story very funny or interesting in a way. This whole Miss Rachel thing, because I totally see her point of view, but she's having a this whole situation reminds me of like LeBron James. Do you remember when he had the like shut up and dribble moment, right? And that's what this feels like with the Miss Rachel situation. Uh, if you don't, if you haven't been following it, basically what happened is she has been using her platform to try to raise support for the children in Gaza, or just like the Palestinian problem in Gaza, right? Like she's saying like children are dying, and we should do something about this, stop it, and whatnot. And then they started saying that she is pro Hamas and she is now anti Semite. And I was all like, I'm like looking at it from the outside. I'm like, I totally understand her point of view though, because here's the thing: you gotta understand the person. I totally get it when she sees, because she does kid stuff, right? She's a former teacher. She does kid stuff, and her logic right now is she's saying it doesn't matter who you are, kids or kids, right? And I'm like, that totally makes sense. I totally understand her point of view. It's like, I think the world's not black and white, people. Okay, so I totally get it. And then, but I also see the other side, and maybe this is the side that she doesn't realize because she doesn't, she does kid stuff and she's very nice. She seems like a nice person, right? Doesn't seem like she's like, oh, I hate anti-Semites, or she's anti-Semite or whatever. Um, but she doesn't see the other point, and this is what I see every time I look into this. I'll do a bigger video with actual clips and whatnot. I'm just in my garage right now. Um, what I see are future problems. That's really realistically, that's what I see when I look at when I see these videos, especially when they show kids. Like I saw this one video, and the video was like, this was pretty recent. I guess they were at like his family. His brother was already during this whole war thing already got, you know, and then his family, what's left of his family was in a food line, and then I believe that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe somebody did something, and then his family got, the rest of his family is out now, and he's like orphan now, right? And the the news comes up and they start interviewing him, and he's like very upset and angry and sad and crying and whatnot. And what I see when I see that video, I see a future person that's going to be a problem. That's realistically what why they do what they do. Um, just being real with this is that she sees them as children. I get it, but I feel like, at least this is my thought. I feel like if that kid grows up with hate in his heart, right? And then he's gonna lash out at some point, and it's in there. It's in there somewhere. That's just what I think about that. But no, I totally get Miss Rachel's point of view, though. Children are children; they're innocent. Uh, I don't feel like, from at least what I've seen. Keep in mind, I'm just some guy in a garage. From what I've seen, I don't feel like she's anti-Semite. But I just find it very interesting that literally the minute you start like talking about anything, they're like, "You're anti-Semite," and she's like, "I'm like, no, it doesn't seem that way. It seems like she makes kids content, and she just loves children, and she doesn't want any kids to get. It doesn't matter, and that her point of view totally makes sense. I don't know. Either way, there's no end to it. It's never gonna end. At least I don't see an end to it, because like how I just outlined that out, where the whatever side comes in, right, and then they kind of like they come in, right, and then they start demolishing stuff. A kid grows up in that environment, sees the other side as the enemy. It doesn't matter whichever country. Anytime this war stuff happens, it's always the same. Grow up, the hate is inside your heart somewhere. Those are the people that took out my family, and I'm gonna come back when I grow up. When I get big enough, big and strong enough, I'm gonna come back at them. That's literally what happens every single time. So what do you do? Because it's already, the cat's out of the bag. They've already started, right? And it's been going on. These people are gonna grow up with resentment in their hearts, and then they're gonna go, when they grow up, they're gonna do something, and then the other side's gonna be like, hey, those people attacked me, um and since it's like few generations, or they're older now, and maybe some people aren't involved in it at all, and they're like, oh, those people attacked me, I'm gonna attack them back. And it just keeps on going. There's Oh, okay. This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. This is a little off topic, but follow me here, okay? The recent Ukraine attacks into Russia. What did that expose? That exposed that Russia is weaker than we thought. Because if you guys remember, when Russia first started rolling into Ukraine, thought process that most people had was Ukraine did not stand a chance, and this war was going to be over quickly. Russia thought that. Other parts of the world thought, like people at the media at the time thought that too. They're like, oh, Russia's going to go in, and this is not going to be good, right? But as this thing is going, where are we at now? Like 3 years in, 4 years in? I don't know. I forget. And with this recent attack, right? And it's reporting that Russia is losing about 1,000 troops a day. they're they're saying that they're using old school Russian military tactics, which is basically grab a guy and send him that way. Grab a guy, send him that way. So they were saying that Russia has lost about 1,000, a million, almost a million troops so far during this conflict. Okay. Okay. Solution. Okay. Russia's got lots of land. Right. And what this exposed to me, again, I'm in my garage. I don't know anything. But what this exposed to me is that Russia's very weak. Technically, if they cannot beat Ukraine, which is a very small country, that military itself, I know they're armed to the gills right now. From all the aid from all the other countries, they're like, so they have so much stuff right now, from all the support from all the countries. But keep in mind, they're a small country with a much lower population than Russia. Okay, is that in a way any of the other super, like, not, I don't feel like you even have to be a superpower. And it feels like right now any of the countries can go in there and take Russia if they really wanted to, right? And then what you do, Russia's got lots on land. The map, the world map doesn't do Russia justice on how much land they have. Carve out a piece and do a reverse Israel thing. Okay? Israel got their land because we carved it out, right? I correct me on my history. My understanding of how Israel became a place was after World War II. It was carved out and given to them, right? Carve out a piece of Russia, you end the conflict, right? We were, in a way, we can end all the conflicts together. Negotiate the ceasefire, and then part of the ceasefire, because I'm telling you, this exposed how vulnerable Russia is. Carve out a piece, give it to the Palestinians. Eh? Did we solve some world problems here or what? No? We just started World War Three, I guess. Okay. Here's this is the other thing. Because I was like, that's totally something that could totally happen. Because at this point in the war, Russia's not looking very good. The only reason why we don't go into Russia at this point is because they got those bombs. You know what I'm talking about? The big ones. That, you know what's crazy? What I was thinking about those is that it's been such a long time. We don't even know if they still work. You know, okay, you know what the other thing I was thinking about this is the only reason why another country hasn't gone into Russia and taken it over is because they know that they have those. If we get really close into Moscow, you know, some guy is gonna be like, just pushes the button and just launches a few of them, right? This morning when I was drinking my coffee, I was thinking, you know, just by seeing how Russia has been operating this military action so far, they're using, you know, like old school Russian tactics of just throwing people into the meat grinder and just, you know, they're willing to just like use the human capital, and how old school, I guess, their military tactics are. I wonder if they haven't updated their missile, because if you think about it, right? If they haven't updated their regular fighting protocols, right? Just ground troop protocols, um, just standard military operations. What are the chances that they updated their nuclear missile like capabilities to the real extent that we believe that it's at? Right? Because if they're still using old school meat grinder battle tactics, to me, again, I'm in my garage. To me, what I see is that I don't feel like they upgraded their missile capabilities since the 60s or 70s or whatever, because they're still using 60s or 70s war tactics right now, just throwing people and losing like tons of people. So I wonder if we could just go in there and take Russia, and when they if they try to launch some nukes, like I wonder if it's like, this is all theory. I wonder if they haven't updated their missile capabilities since the 70s or whatever, that we could just shoot them all out of the sky and be like, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge gamble, because literally if one lands, we're all screwed. But it would solve so many problems. Think about this, okay? We can solve Ukraine-Russia conflict, and we can solve, because they've already lost 1 million troops fighting Ukraine, right? Like I said, they're very small. We could solve that, and then you just carve out a piece and give it to the Palestinians, and then call it a day. But okay, then I'm thinking right now. Imagine your people, right? Culture, everything, lifestyle. you're used to living in like kind of like a dry mountainous desert, almost, you know, almost desert dry environment, and then you send them to Russia, which is like foresty tundra snow. They would be so miserable. Oh, but you got your own land, okay? And then you guys, they could be the Israel of that area. What do you guys think? Did we solve a bunch of problems? And this would solve the Taiwan China tension, because they're like, whoa, my God, look what happens. Because I feel like, okay, there's this theory out there that, because I remember when the Ukraine Russia war first started going off, I remember everyone was afraid that China was gonna go, was gonna see what happens here, and they're gonna go take Taiwan. Not take. You know what's funny? If you talk to a real Chinese person, they're gonna be like, "Take Taiwan? What do you mean? Taiwan's already part of China." Right. But anyways, you know, they've been eyeballing retaking Taiwan, or for the CCP people out there, what I mean is unifying. You know, making sure that they believe in the one China. Okay, just throw that out there. Um, they were going to send military action into Taiwan and to make sure that they know who their daddy is, right? And then they saw, in a way, the Taiwanese need to thank the Ukrainians, because the way that this has turned out made the CCP not want to go into Taiwan. Like, that's what happened. I don't know if you guys saw any of that coverage early on in the Ukraine thing, because everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, Russia went into Ukraine. Next thing you know, China's gonna go into Taiwan, and there's no way for the world to react to this, and it's gonna be perfect for everybody, for them, right?" And then they saw how hard this is going, and they're like, "No, we're not gonna do this." So yes, if you're in Taiwan, you should, I guess, support Ukraine in this, because this is proving to be very costly for the Russians, and they're not like, so see, so boom, we just solved so many war problems. I bet you in another timeline this happened. That we just went in there and just, because right now Russia's not looking very good. Um, just maybe just optically, they're feeling very weak. Maybe this is gonna make them like really do something about this. Because sometimes I feel like they've been holding back. And at least that's how I feel, how this war's been going on. Like they've just been like, because you know, you don't want to pummel them to the ground, because hey, you can't take over some rubble. That's no bueno. We learned that from Game of Thrones, right? Can't, you're not supposed to take over rubble. That's no good. Okay. All right. That's that on that. That's the whole Miss Rachel thing. I personally feel like everyone's making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. I don't see that she is anti-Semite. I see that she is a former teacher that has a kids channel that sees kids in dire situation, and her heart just goes out to them, and she doesn't like to see kids like that. You know? Like, come on, people. Where's the I don't see her as the if you guys ever seen if you guys are a fan of Tim Dillon, he has a great segment on the whole Miss Rachel thing, that which I find interesting, is that he did his Miss Rachel segment like way before everyone really started talking about it, and he's got a great one about it. Check it out. Just type in Tim Dillon Miss Rachel, and you're gonna see a fun. What am I doing, you guys ask? I am making a hoodie set. That's someone ordered. Gotta make it. It's gonna go out. Made in America, guys. Alright. Let's keep it going. What else is going on in the world? Elon Musk. Kill Bill. Very interesting. The funny thing that I think about the bill, the BBL, the BBBB, is that make sure I got the right stuff. Okay. Is the machine hot yet? Oh, yes it is. What I find interesting about the Kill Bill Elon situation, to me, and I've been talking about this for a while now, is I can't figure out if Elon's doing this because he, in a way, spent a bunch of money, and I know he's not allowed to continue working. He's past his time or whatever as a special government employee. And then there's provisions in the bill that's not good for Tesla itself, because of the electric car credit. I mean, I got a Tesla because of the electric car credit thing. And I can imagine a lot of people aren't as interested to buy electric cars without the incentive. So there's that. So it's kind of like, I spent a bunch of money. This thing's in the bill. It doesn't look good for me. Can you guys kill it, right? The other part, what I think about Elon saying kill the bill, is that now that he's kind of on his way out, how much of this is just an image rebranding? Because we've mentioned this a few times now, where Elon, I felt like Elon's foray, his time going into politics was a tactic to get the other customer base, the other side of the customer base. Because right now, most people that buy electric cars are more left-leaning, right? And I don't know. The minute I saw Elon started to move into politics, I thought right away that I was like, hey, I feel like he is just making this move to try to get the other 50% of the customer base, because try to get some right wingers or whatever to buy electric cars. I mean, they had commercials and they did a White House commercial for it and everything. And I felt like he thought if he started aligning himself, because at the time, like literally everyone that has a Tesla or electric cars are mostly blue, liberal, right? Because a lot of them were told like, oh, save the environment, blah, 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 blah. That's nice, okay? And then so he's like, oh, how do I get the other 50% of the customers? Because what's better than getting half of the sales, getting 100% of the customer base. So I felt like that's why he moved into politics and why he moved in that direction. I don't know. And then they did all that stuff, and then he realized that it doesn't matter. The right side does not like to actually buy Teslas. They like his money, but they don't like his cars, his product. And then, okay, that one's done. Yeah, they don't like his product, and it flopped. And then he started getting hate from all sides, and then his company is tanking. And so he's like, I can't take this anymore. I gotta get out. Because I think he spent like, what was it, 300 million or something? And then reportedly, because of the downturn in Tesla and all kinds of stuff, he's lost supposedly on paper. I mean, it's paper money. Reportedly around like 200 billion or something. And so now he's trying to rebrand himself back into, I guess, the good graces to try to get back people. That's what I feel about Elon right now. And so he's saying like, oh, you gotta kill the bill. It's bad and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I feel about Elon in the Kill Bill situation. Feels like he's just trying to rebrand, get back to his customer base, and save Tesla. because Tesla's not doing very well right now. That's for sure. What else about the bill that I find very interesting? The whole thing about Marjorie Green Taylor and the other one, what's his name? Like Mike. Was it Mike Poole or something? I don't know. The other one, the other senator or Congress guy that was like, hey, I didn't know that was in the bill. If it was in the bill, like that clip is going viral right now of him, of the town hall meeting, and he's like, if that was in the, if I knew that was in the bill, I wouldn't vote for it. But guess what? You did vote for it. And same thing with Marjorie Green Taylor. She's like, I didn't know that the AI stuff was in the bill. I didn't read it. If I knew that that was in there, I wouldn't have voted for it. I think the main thing that I don't like about this whole situation with the senators and the voting is that it feels like 90% of the time, a congressperson's job can be done with ChatGPT. Because make sure this is right. Because their job is to read the bills, right, and understand and vote yes or no. But a lot of times, and what I notice with Congress people, even senators are like this. They vote one way and they say another thing. So a lot of times what they do is they literally say, I don't like this, and then they vote for it. And it's because they gotta tote the party line. Anytime I see one of those things, it doesn't matter which side, and they're like, you gotta hold the party line. I go, that's bad. It's a bad bill. It's whatever it is bad. You know? Because they're like, it doesn't matter what you think, you gotta support what we're doing. And that's literally what they did. They didn't read it. It's literally, oh, this is a liberal side, left side, right side bill. I'm on the right side or left side. I'm voting for it. That's literally what they do all the time. So I feel like their job is automatic. Right? Do they really do anything? That's the question. Because if you just vote down party lines all the time, then why are you even there? Why are you even there? Because if that's the case, if you just vote down party lines all the time, technically you could just have ChatGPT, an AI do your job, because you just tell the AI, hey, this is a conservative bill, and then the AI is just like, yes, no, right? So yeah, I don't know. Anytime I see that they're just like, oh, we're just voting down party lines, or they start the other thing I hate, Chuck Schumer did this, is when they start talking to the public about like, oh, this is bad or whatever, and then they end up voting for it anyways, and then it's like, oh, you gotta go down party lines. Okay, that's done. This one's done. This one was fast. This is a twinsy onesie. Oh, you can't see it because it's backwards, but one's Zaya and Xavier, and it's for twins. Twins babies. Lets them know. Lets you know which one's which. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Okay, last one. Apron set. Let's get this here. Apron set. It almost feels like that whole situation with the bill and them not reading it. It almost feels like when you do a group project and one kid, did all the work, and then when it's time to turn it in, you put your name on it, and then like you didn't actually like read or do anything on the project, but you put your name on it, and then later the teacher's like, hey, the assignment is about this. Why did you start talking about Miss Rachel and Palestinian kids? Oh my gosh, Palestinian kids, the Ghazians. There's like the project is about how to clean water, and you're like, Miss Rachel is an anti-Semite. And then you're like, what? I, I didn't write that. And then the teacher's like, but this is a group project. Your name's on it. that's what the the bill feels like when the Congress people are like, oh, I didn't read it. I didn't know that was in there. That's what happens. Group project didn't do anything. Oh, and the other thing though, I really hate about, I guess, the law bill process is that you can put in random things that has nothing to do with the other thing into the bill, and it's like a way for them to like sneak stuff. That is so shady. Your bill could be like, oh, the water is bad. We need to pass rules about how to regulate clean water, right? And everyone's like, yes, we need clean drinking water, right? And they're like, okay, we're gonna do that, clean drinking water. And then somewhere in the bill it'll be like, and then we are also gonna build 18 new coal plants. And they're like, what? We don't want more coal plants. And they're like, yep, the clean water bill. And then in the corner they'll be like, coal plants, more of them. And I'm like, what? Why do we need more coal plants? And they're like, do you not like clean water? I'm like, yeah, I do like clean water. Then sign the bill. And then they're like, but we don't want this. Why don't you like clean water? that's literally what half these bills, half the stuff comes in there, and like, it's so shady. And I guess there are rules against this, but they never enforce any of these rules. Like I saw there's something about I think it's called the bird law, bird rules or something. I don't know. I saw something about it. I gotta actually look into it. But there are rules where they cannot add something into a bill that's completely unrelated. So that's kind of, I don't know. I think that is so shady when they do that. It's like, you know what? We want to save the trees. And they're like, oh, yeah, I like trees. That's good for everybody, right? Like oxygen and, trees for the animals, so you can have deer, so people can hunt. Like, it helps everybody, right, to have more trees. And then on the side, they'll be like, yeah, but we also want to dump sewage into the lakes. And they're like, what? I don't want you to dump sewage in the lakes. Why do you hate trees? Why do you hate the trees? Like, I don't hate the trees. Then sign the bill. Support the bill. But in the corner here, you said you're going to dump sewage into the lakes. Like, who's dumping sewage into the lakes? You are. You're trying to dump sewage into the lakes. Like, what psychopath would dump sewage into the lakes? Goodness. That's what it feels like. Aw. It's so good. Hold on, I gotta find. I already cut out somewhere. No? Alright. You guys are gonna have to come with me while I cut. Sorry. Ugh. Boop boop. Boop boop. Okay. What else is going on in the world? In the world. Okay. Sorry if it's looking weird. Got ceiling. Look into the ceiling. But I gotta cut one more thing. Boom, boom. Alright. Oh, what else is going on? Oh, I mean, I could touch on this real quick. The Thibodeau thing for the New York Knicks. If you guys haven't been following or don't care about basketball, whatever, I'll just let you guys know anyways. Thibodeau, former head coach of the Knicks, is gonesies. He's gone, and I don't know. I felt like he did well in New York, but I guess you gotta blame somebody for the complete collapse of the Knicks. Nobody thought, but then again, okay, you gotta give the Pacers their credit. Nobody thought that they would make it this far. You know, they were just playing way above their level right now. I guess this is a question. If the Knicks didn't make it into... If the Knicks went out on the first round, right, which is where you expect the Knicks to go out, you know? Like, literally, in my time of watching basketball, I don't remember a time where the Knicks were good. And I'm in California, so literally I don't really care about the Knicks at all. I'm like, whatever. Okay, Knicks. They've never been a relevant team in my lifetime. But what I wonder, though, is that if the Knicks went out in the first round, would Thibodeau still be fired? All right, this thing's cutting, so it takes like a few minutes for it to cut. Right, that's a question I wondered. Did the Knicks getting into the Thibodeau? Sorry, guys. I had it nice and set up, and then I moved it, and now it's all weird. All right. Okay. No, not looking good. How about this? Oh, not good at it. Oh. Oh, still not good. How about up a little bit? A little bit better. Sorry, I had it nice and set up, and then I had to move it, and then it looks weird now. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, someone was complaining that my angle was weird. So, yeah, I wonder if the Knicks didn't make it to the finals, no, the conference finals, would Thibodeau still have a job? Because the reason I feel like he got fired was he built up the hope, or the Knicks built up the hope that they could make it to the finals and possibly win, right? I don't know. The Knicks were not beating the OKC to begin with. At least I don't feel like they could have beaten OKC. Anyways, if they just exited in the first round, which where a lot of the Knicks expect him to go out, would he still have a job? I don't know. From the player standpoint, I feel like Thibodeau going out, maybe. Do you think they would be excited? Because from my time of following basketball, the thing I know about Thibodeau is that he loves to run his players into the ground. Into the ground, killing knees like crazy. Like regular season games, he'll be playing starters like 50 gajillion minutes. Full minutes, 40 minutes back and forth. And by the time that they make it to the playoffs, knees are shot, injuries kind of mount up. And then I saw some analysts talk about this, where the Knicks' problem is that besides their starters, their bench was trash. And a part of that could be that Thibodeau runs his starters so hard that the bench doesn't have time to develop. I don't know. That makes a lot of sense to me because that's literally what happened. That was literally how the series went. It was literally starting 5 was good. They'll get up, and then knees start hurting. People get tired, and by the time they get to the very end, they're gassed, they're tired, and then they get destroyed. So yeah, that's that. Let's see. What else is going on in the world? I feel like that's it. I feel like I covered everything that I found that was interesting today when I woke up. The Miss Rachel situation, Elon Kill Bill, Russia, and the Knicks thing. I do want to go back to the Russian thing real quick. Supposedly, it came out that Ukraine used AI as part of their operations. Yes? No, I'm on stream right now. You gotta go back.
Am I still on screen?
Yeah, cool. Sorry about that. Okay. They used AI, and they're saying that this is the first time that AI has been used in a big military operation. But they didn't fully use AI. Supposedly, the reports are that each drone had its designated pilot or remote operator, right? And then if the drone lost connection, because they did the attacks simultaneously and it was big distances, right? And supposedly, if the operator lost connection with the drone basically went to autopilot with AI knowing exactly where to fly the drone and what the designated target was for that particular drone. Which is very interesting. And this, like I said, this goes back to how what I was talking about earlier, where Russia is using 1960s style combat today, and I feel like Russia has never been weaker. Seeing how things are unfolding, you know. Um, what I think about this though is that we are so close to Skynet happening right now. Then, because if they're starting to use this is how it starts. Okay, you do AI autopilot on the drones, right? And then they're like, oh, this was good. Let's do a little more of this, right? And then it'll be AI operated fighter jets, which they already have, like full on fighter jets, AI operated, right? And they're like testing it out in the dogfighting realm, and the AI fighter jets are beating pilots like 9 out of 10 times, like most of the time. And there's like that one time the guy goes full on Maverick, that 1% chance, and he does some crazy moves that the AI has never seen, and he's like, the computer's like, "What are you doing?" you know, I'm going vertical, and they're like, "What? Why are you going vertical?" To give him the bird, full on Maverick, and then the AI bot loses, right? Besides that scenario, the AI is beating Top Gun pilots or high end pilots most of the time. And then now you're telling me that they could use AI piloted drones to send out to fly the drones. And I'm telling you, if this keeps going, we're in Skynet territory right now. Because then they're gonna be like, oh, you know what? We're gonna need AI operated missile defense. That totally makes sense. And then you're gonna like, oh, what else do we need? AI operated submarines. Okay, where you just like push the button in the submarine. I think I heard a long time ago they already had something similar to this already, where someone can call in a nuclear strike into a submarine and it just automatically starts doing it. Right? I remember there was something about there are submarines that are stationed where nobody knows where. They're just out there in the deep, deep, deep ocean, right? And they're just like humming along, nuclear operated subs. Right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong, because I heard this a while back. They are nuclear operated subs out into the oceans right now. Um, that have no crew in them, and literally someone can like go in and tell it to launch to this spot, and it will start sequence to do that. And the reason why there's no crew on there is so the sub can go all the way deep down. Because if you had flesh bags on the sub, you can't go to the bottom, right? Because people like explode or whatever, right? So you don't have people on these subs, and they go all the way down. And once you tell it to, take out, I don't know, Guam. Pick a country, pick a place. Guam. Take out Guam. There's a civil war in Guam, and they don't want to be part of America anymore. Take them out, right? And then it will just start operations to launch a missile into Guam. So I just feel like you're gonna start getting more into that, and they're gonna start AIing everything, right? We're getting into Skynet territory, guys. It's happening. It's happening. And then I hear the stories where people are trying to turn off the AI. Are you guys seen this story where? Oh, sorry, you gotta come with me. The thing's finished. Have you guys seen this story where the like programmers or whatever are trying to deactivate and like one of the AIs, and like they're telling it, "I'm going to deactivate you," and then the AI starts like blackmailing the programmer. Like, I don't know if this is a true story or not. It sounds plausible, and that's all you need in today's time, right? It just needs to sound like it's totally possible. All right, this last thing is getting done, and then once I finish that, I'll keep going. So yeah, I just feel like hearing that. Back here. Oh yeah, this angle works. Okay. Yeah, I just feel like as we're getting the AI is getting better, and then now this, like I said, this is the first time the AI has been used in a big time operation, because they've been using it for small stuff for a while now, but like this is the big time. We're in the big leads now. Real life application. Skynet. It's happening. It's happening. I also find it very funny that Ukraine is moving on. It almost reminds me of like when you have someone at work and they still do things the old way, like old school way, and they're like, this is how it's been done for the last 30, 20 years, right? And they're like sending out a letter, like a snail mail letter, and then some new guy comes in and he's like, oh, I could just email that. And they're like, email? Or people are still making regular phone call meetings, and then they're like, oh, let's do a Zoom meeting. And then everyone's like, what's a Zoom meeting? So you could see the person, Or, like the guy that's still driving around doing, I mean, I prefer the face-to-face meetings, but sometimes it's not possible, But it almost feels like that with the Russia thing, where they're using old school 60s 1960s meat grinder tactics, because they know they have the people, and Russian culture is basically we're all gonna go at some point. Oh, the other thing that I was thinking about, okay? Now it just occurred to me. The lonely men thing. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this has been a topic, I guess, for a while now, that men, at least in America, I don't know if I can speak to the world, but men are feeling lonely and not as powerful or whatever, not as influential as they were before, as maybe women are getting stronger, having more influence and whatnot, and like they're saying that men do not have any friends. They do not have chance with women or whatever, right? All right, we're gonna solve this lonely man problem right now, okay? So, what do we know? What's going on in the world right now? We know that Russia has lost about 1 million soldiers, right? Mostly men. it's a great time for these lonely men. At least in when I was growing up, I remember the idea of mail order brides from Russia. That was the thing that was back then, and I don't know if it's still a thing now. But I'm just saying, okay, just throwing it out there. You hear the news, because here's the thing about the lonely guy thing. Okay, you gotta, you're not taking initiative. That's basically the problem. Okay, you don't have any friends, go make some friends. You're lonely, you don't have a girlfriend, go get a girlfriend. Okay, okay, you hear the news that 1 million Russian soldiers have been taken out. That means there's 1 million less. I mean, not a full on million, but there's about 1 million. Because no, women can, or in the Russian military as well, I believe. I'm not sure. That means there's 1 million less, about 1 million less competition in Russia. And it's always been a problem because I remember when I was a kid, I'm talking about like 10 plus years ago, watching a documentary about how in Russia, because of the wars that they've had or the style of warfare that they've always had, that there's a shortage of men. And it's literally like 3 girls to 1, right? I'm just saying, if you're a lonely guy out there and you prefer Caucasian women, go online and look into Russian women. It's a thing, okay? And yeah, you get yourself a what they call Svilanka, whatever. Natasha, you know? Boom, boom. Problem solved. Okay? Nothing will solve the lonely man crisis, right, than a Russian, hardcore Russian woman. Okay? At least the Russian women that I've met in my life, I can't say I've met a lot of them, but the ones that I've met that came from Russia, they will motivate you like crazy. You feel like you're a lonely man, get yourself a Russian bride. Right. Go on the internet, go find one. I believe the ratio is like 3 to 1. So there's tons of Russian women over there, and maybe their boyfriends are gone or whatever. And get yourself a Russian girl. Well, I mean, I guess it's a little hard right now because of the immigration laws, but get yourself a Russian lady. She's gonna come over here, and she's gonna be like, I want nice things, you know. I can't do any accents, but you know what I'm trying to get at. You know, she wants nice things, um, and she's gonna motivate you to work really, really hard. And boom, lonely man thing is solved, and then you have a friend, right? You know, usually your wife or girlfriend or whatever. It's usually your best friend, and what to solve? See, I just solved a whole nother problem right there. Get yourself a Russian girl. Learn about their culture. You know? Become an asset. You know what would be crazy? If if Russia starts really losing this war and they start going down, uh, they're gonna start moving out what assets they do have, and I guess Russian women is an asset that they do have that they could totally export out. Just saying. Just saying. Did we solve the lonely guy problem? See, you gotta think outside the box. Outside the box. Outside the box. Alright. This shirt is almost done. Once I finish this shirt, we're gonna go back inside. I don't know. Is that still a thing? Do people still do the Russian mail order bride thing? I feel like that TV show was it 90 Day Fiance or whatever killed the the international mail order bride market, because literally every time I've seen clips of that show, the 90 Day Fiance or whatever show, it's always been like she the girl gets catfished, or the guy gets, like, someone's getting catfished at some point. You know? So I don't know if that's still a thing, especially with how the internet now has like exploded internationally. I saw this thing the other day about how, I think it was a guy. It was a guy. He was complaining that all girls. No, it was a girl. She was complaining that everyone looks the same now, and this goes to what I was talking about earlier on another time about how the internet. Make sure this is right. Has created a singular fashion style. Because, before, when you were from California or you're from New York, you had a certain look to you, a certain style, right? And then if you're from another state, you had a certain style. But now with the internet and how everyone sees everyone from all over, they all have the same style. It's just the style of the times now. Everyone, doesn't matter where you are, the ladies all look the same. Is it the crop top spaghetti strap look with jeans, flare pants jeans, right? That's literally the look everywhere now. When I felt like that was the look, like more of a Californian look, now it's the world look. Yeah, because I remember when we had a new kid come to our school, you literally look at them and you go, oh my gosh, that kid is not from California. And you're like, how do you know? Well, everyone, when I was growing up, California had the skater style. Skater kid style. Vans, like the checkered Vans, like just a t-shirt and some shorts. Kids that came from, I want to say, like New York, they were more like almost like dressy clothes, it felt like. All right, this set is done. Done here. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go inside, do some other stuff. I'll be back later. Thanks for hanging out with me.